Welcome back to the Daily Rundown. I'm Dan Morfitt with Zia and Eddie here. It's now time for their Something to Say, which gives my guests the chance to rant and rave. So firstly, Zia, what is your Something to Say?
Well, there was a piece in The Guardian today by a chap called Ian Birrell, headed, "Whatever they do, Muslims can't win in our society." And I thought, good on you, mate, because if I'd written that, there'd have been a whole load of backlash by whinging Muslims, always the victims, blah, blah, that sort of stuff. And his piece was really making the points that have arisen in the last week or so anyway, with some of the news items, with people pointing out, and there was a lot of it on social media, that this is the week when a Muslim bakes the Queen's birthday cake. A Muslim wins for the first time, the PFA Player of the Year award.
Mahrez from Leicester, great season.
Oh, unbelievable player, yeah. Absolutely. And a Muslim becomes the president of the NUS. And so what more can Muslims do to show, hey, we're in this, we're kind of committed, we want to make an effort, we want to contribute to our society in whatever way we can, and yet still it's like they can't do enough. And this piece today was a very nice piece, I thought, by Ian Birrell, just highlighting that, yeah, of course, like every community, Muslims have got issues that they need to address, and I, for one, certainly don't shy away from that. But it's just good to have somebody, saying a few words in your corner when it matters.
Even your book, Just Your Average Muslim, it talks about, integration issues, but the fact that there is no such thing as an average Muslim because, you're a barrister, born in Burnley, raised in Liverpool. There's so many different things that Muslims are that you can't be just pocketed together and be called a group that's either anti-British or pro-terrorism. It's a ridiculous state of affairs.
It really is, and people forget that each of us has different facets to our identity. And so, for instance, sometimes I'm a Liverpool fan. That's what's the most important thing at that time. When I'm in court, it doesn't matter which football team I support or which religion I am. I've got a job to do as a professional. And so Muslims, like everybody else, they've got their day jobs, they've got their family lives, they've got their social lives, they've got so many different hats that they wear, which we all do in getting by. And to just to be, sort of labelled the Muslim bloke, as if all his views are going to be straight out of this book, and they all share the same views. It's just bizarre.
It's like that Crackers tweet a few weeks ago where a random man in the street went up to a woman in a hijab and said, "What do you think of the Brussels terrorism?" It's like nobody came up to an archbishop during the bombings that the Unionists and the Republicans were doing in Ireland going, "You're a cleric, what do you think about these Christian bombings?" It seems to be ridiculous scapegoating and sometimes looking at one Muslim person to represent a massively diverse religious base.
It is, but events like that, although on the one hand they're quite distressing and they are demoralising when you read that sort of story, but then if you just stop and take it all in, you then find actually what followed was a load of people saying to him, "You're bang out of order." A load of people who weren't Muslims saying that, no, that's not what we represent. And so that, I think, is the good that comes out of the bad, where, you can pick up those lessons from it. Look, you've got a lot of support out there. So it's a good lesson for Muslims as well to learn that you're not this community that has to just defend itself against all attack. You've got people who are willing to, back you in the right situation, and this is reciprocal. This is how it works. There are things that you can do, and I often say that Muslims, for example, part of getting involved in society is you shouldn't just comment on Muslim issues. Muslims should have views about the NHS and about education and across the board.
You're a person first.
Person first.
It's like earlier on when we were talking about anti-Semitism. We think today we've got a balanced attitude in the UK and that, Nazism was a terrible thing and that the Holocaust was a watershed moment in world history. But anti-Semitism was fervent in Britain in the 1910s, the 1920s, the 1930s. It's only seen in retrospect that we, liberated so many concentration camps. But at the time, there was a lot of anti-Semitism in the UK by the general populace. Do you think this anti-Muslim feeling, this is Islamophobia that exists at the moment, might dissipate in the next 20, 30 years?
I'd like to think it would, but one of the things I've noticed, for example, especially when you see the political debate in the States with the elections coming up, what's happened now? Because a lot of people are saying it's all about Trump winning or not, and as long as he doesn't win, everything's fine. Well, no, because what Trump has done is he's brought to the discussion topics that really, you couldn't have said those things 10, 20 years ago, but now it's all right. So you've got these guys who are dusting off their white hoods thinking, hey, it's all right, we can do this because, Donald Trump can talk about this kind of stuff.
He's made legitimate those
He's made it legitimate, absolutely. And so that's the worry, that whether he gets in or not, have you now sort of skewed the debate in such a way that the next 20 years aren't going to be comfortable because people will think it's all right to discuss these things?
It has been great, though, this week. Like you said, a PFA Footballer of the Year, Muslim, NUS President, Muslim, and the woman who baked a cake for the Queen's birthday, Nadia, she's a Muslim as well.
Absolutely.
Fantastic to see. Thank you for your something to say tonight.
You're welcome.
Eddie, what is your something to say?
Well, maybe it's not slightly so big a social issue, but I was walking today and I was walking along, there was a road, big puddle on the road. This car came right up to me. It could have not done it. It chose to go faster. Chow! I'm all soaked. I'm furious. And this is illegal. It's illegal to do this. And I was thinking, oh God, he's going to be sorry when the police get him. But it's like, what are the police going to do about it? Like, there's more important things for the police to do than stop somebody just slightly soaking me. I'm going to be dry in an hour, right? And it's the same with with people with bikes on pavements. It's against the law, but who's going to enforce that when there's so much more important things?
Probably a policeman on a bicycle as well on the pavement.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
There's double trouble in it.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you stop the cyclists? I know, get a policeman on a bike to run him down. No, because he's going to have to go on the pavement too. Come on, guys.
So were you really that angry today that you were going to call the police?
I thought, well, something should happen about it. But then I was thinking this, like, there is an issue that the police only have a limited amount of resources. We know this. However, superheroes and that, they're fighting... They're fighting mastermind criminals, they're fighting terrorist organisations, they're fighting boss kingpins. We've got organisations that their whole job is to do that. The number one job of Interpol is to stop bad guys. The number one job of MI5 and MI6 is to stop bad things happening. Whereas these superheroes, why don't they just hop on this? Get the vigilantes to stop the puddle splashes.
So let me get this right. You want civil servants working in the donut at GCHQ to monitor satellite feeds of puddles, and then you want, by the sounds of it, Spider-Man, Captain America and Iron Man to bring wrath upon the perpetrators of people who drive through puddles.
I mean, wrath's maybe a strong word, just to...
I'm getting the feeling of wrath.
I just want it to be like, come on, pal. Give him a break. Come on, be more considerate. That's what I want Iron Man with his multi-million-pound suit to come flying in and go, whoa, don't be a jerk.
I like the fact that there's people probably watching this right now going, it's not illegal to drive through a puddle, is it? And soak somebody? It is.
Totally illegal.
You get a fixed penalty notice for it if police catch you doing it. And I know charges have been brought against people who think it's funny to upload it to YouTube, of going, oh, we're going to go past a bus stop. Whoosh! They've been done. So you should have videoed it.
Yeah. I mean, in hindsight with the superhero thing, it's just police community support officers, isn't it?
Yeah, PCSOs are the superheroes of the day.
Which they do a great job. Do they? They try.
They try.
They try.
They're superheroes in a different way. They're superheroes in high-vis jackets and hats.
Yeah, I mean, in a way it's a uniform. It's, it's fabulous in its own sense, I guess.
I love the fact that that's your something to say. And were these the trousers that you were wearing when you got soaked?
No, listen, pal. Buckle in, because this is a big old Fury road.
Okay.
New trousers. I got them the day before. I was thinking, oh boy, what a nice pair of trousers. I may even wear these on television later. Not to be. Thanks, Seat Ibiza driver. You know who you are.
Whoever this person is that drove through a puddle and soaked this man's brand new trousers that he was going to wear on the telly tonight, you sicken me. You properly sicken me. Right, has everybody got something off their chests? Are you happy with your something to say?
I mean, I feel my victimisation's probably not as bad.
No, I'm all for keeping an eye out on the roads on the way home tonight to make sure that this kind of nonsense doesn't occur, because we all have a part to play, Dan.
It's terrible. Terrible. Right, so we're going to go to another break now, but please don't go away, because I'll be back with my guests in just a minute for the last bit of the last Daily Rundown of the week, with some of the thankfully less serious stories of the day.